This is Meet Sean, where we break down real life topics insurance, annuities, real estate, travel planning, and home ownership so you can make smarter moves. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
Welcome to the deep dive. If you've ever felt overwhelmed, confused, or just plain misinformed while trying to buy or sell a home, you are definitely not alone. Real estate is one of the most financially significant areas of modern life, and it's absolutely swimming in half-truths, old assumptions, and flat-out myths.
And following those myths can cost you, tens of thousands of dollars or make you miss out on the perfect opportunity.
Sure.
The noise level in the real estate world is just deafening. And a lot of the core beliefs people hold about pricing, about timing, even about agents, they're just plain wrong.
Well, that's why we're here. We have a pretty powerful stack of sources today detailing, I think it's 17 of the most rampant real estate myths.
The 17 pitfalls, yeah.
Exactly. Our mission today is to cut through all of that noise.
Yeah.
We're extracting the vital, debunked knowledge you need to move forward with confidence, making sure you're operating from a foundation of fact, not folklore.
All right, let's do it.
So let's jump right in by starting with the professionals who guide us through this maze, the real estate agents themselves.
Okay, let's unpack this core issue right away. The first major myth is that all real estate agents are the same.
Right.
Or that they all offer the same value.
Yeah, the public often assumes they have this generic skill set. They just, open doors and fill out paperwork.
That view just completely sells them short. It undervalues specializations so much. Agents vary widely in experience and specialties and in how they work.
Okay, so like what?
While some specialize in first-time buyers, maybe using a background in teaching to patiently guide clients. Others might specialize in luxury homes, relocation, or even distressed properties. And what's fascinating is how their prior career impacts their work.
Okay, give us an example. How does a background like that translate into, measurable value?
Okay, so consider an agent who has a background in corporate law. They don't just understand the contract on a surface level. They might spot a complex environmental disclosure or a nuanced clause about mineral rights that a generalist agent, no matter how enthusiastic, might completely overlook.
And that one detail could be huge.
It could save you literally thousands in future legal fees or liability. Choosing the right specialist is the difference between a smooth transaction and an absolute disaster.
That really reframes the whole selection process. Okay, now let's tackle the biggest piece of misinformation, the one that leads to resentment. The money.
Yes.
People see the final sale price, they see the commission percentage, and they just assume agents are raking in big money.
This myth completely ignores the structure of the industry and the cost of doing business. First off, agents work purely on commission. They only get paid if a deal actually closes.
So if a house sits for a year,
They've worked for free that whole time. And the money that does come in, it doesn't just go straight into their pocket.
from it, right?
Yeah, far from it. Let's trace a typical 6% seller's commission. That 6% is usually split 50-50 between the buyer's agent and the seller's agent.
So 3% to each side.
Right. But then the agents have to split that remaining 3% with their brokerage.
The brokerage being the firm that holds their license, provides the insurance, the office space.
All of that. So after paying their brokerage, they're down to maybe half of that original 3%.
So a fraction of a fraction.
Precisely. And out of that net portion, they have to fund their entire operation. We're talking marketing costs, gas, licensing fees, continuous education, insurance, self-employment taxes. It is a high-risk structure where the agent carries the entire operational burden.
Which makes that final agent myth that an agent is a waste of money feel particularly weak when you look at the total value.
It's financially illogical for most people to go it alone. The data is clear. People who represent themselves, they often overpay as buyers or undersell as sellers.
Because they lack the market knowledge and the negotiation skills.
Exactly. The agent is there to get you access to listings you might not see, handle complex paperwork, and manage the whole closing process.
And for buyers, the value proposition is almost unbeatable.
It is. I think the number is something like 88% of buyers use a realtor. And why wouldn't you? The buyer's agent services are entirely free to the buyer.
The commission's paid by the seller.
Right. It's invaluable professional input paid for by the other side of the transaction.
Okay, that takes us nicely to the market itself. Let's talk timing. Most people believe there's one right time to buy or sell, which brings up that persistent myth. Springtime is house hunting season.
Right. The only good time to list.
Really good time.
And while spring is popular, mostly because families want to move when school is out, it is highly misleading to think it's the only good time. According to research from Zillow, listing volume in the winter, especially in southern states, can be quite high.
So strategically, what makes winter appealing for sellers then?
Less competition. It's that simple. If you list your home in March, you are competing against every other family eager to move before June. If you list in, say, November or December, you have fewer casual lookers. But the buyers you do attract are often highly motivated.
They need to move.
They need to move, which can lead to quicker sales for well-positioned properties. You really don't have to wait for the flowers to bloom.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for homeowners. The renovation myth. This idea that you'll recoup all your remodeling and home improvement costs when you sell.
Ah, yes, I put in $50,000 for a kitchen. I get $50,000 back.
Guaranteed.
Right, only. Unfortunately, the sources show the average return on major renovations is only about 64% of the initial cost.
64? Ouch!
You might get $32,000 back on that $50,000 kitchen. Expensive, personalized projects like adding a massive primary bedroom suite, they might only recoup a tiny fraction because they're so specific to your taste.
So, really, renovations primarily help the home sell faster. They increase buyer appeal, but they are not guaranteed profit centers.
Correct. It's more about maximizing speed and minimizing time on the market than it is a dollar-for-dollar return. If you want high ROI, focus on smaller, cosmetic updates, painting, landscaping, not major structural changes.
Now let's pivot to maybe the most counterintuitive myth in our stack.
Yeah.
Setting a low asking price means you'll make less money.
I love this one.
It feels like basic supply and demand, but the strategy works the opposite way.
It's fascinating. According to the National Association of Realtors, a strategically lower initial price attracts a much wider pool of buyers. It creates immense interest and competition.
And that environment leads to
Bidding wars. Intense bidding wars, which often push the final sale price well above the asking price.
So you're baiting the hook with a great price to generate urgency and, I guess, a little panic among buyers.
Exactly. You turn the initial transaction from a single negotiation into an auction. If you price too high at the start, you scare away buyers, the house languishes, and then you have to do price drops later, which just signals weakness.
But hold on, doesn't that low initial price create a huge risk later with the appraisal?
That is the critical risk. It's a great question.
If the bidding war pushes the price up to, say, $450, but the comp suggested a $400,000 starting price, couldn't the bank just refuse to fund that higher amount?
They could. If the final contracted price doesn't appraise, the buyer has a choice. Waive the appraisal contingency and bring cash to cover the gap.
Or the seller has to drop the price.
Exactly. So a skilled agent mitigates this risk by aiming for a price point just below what the market comp suggests, not wildly below. That way, the bidding frenzy stays within a defensible appraisal range.
That's the nuance that separates the pros from the novices. Okay, let's move on to the pure financial procedures. We have to tackle pre-approval and the myth that your pre-approval amount will be the final loan amount.
This is a devastating one for buyers. Pre-approval only confirms what the bank is willing to lend to you.
Based on my income, debts, credit score.
Right. The final approval depends entirely on the specific property you choose and its appraisal.
So going back to our example, I'm pre-approved for $400,000. I put in an offer for $400,000, but the appraisal comes in at $380,000.
The lender will only fund $380,000. That $20,000 difference is the appraisal gap. The bank is basically saying the house isn't worth what you agreed to pay.
And that creates a huge problem.
A critical problem. The buyer suddenly has to find an extra $20,000 in cash, or you have to renegotiate, or the whole deal just falls apart. Pre-approval is great, but it is not a guarantee that the house will cooperate.
That really emphasizes the need for cash reserves beyond the down payment.
Oh.
And speaking of financing, let's debunk the credit myth. You need perfect credit to buy a home.
Absolutely not. I mean, perfect credit helps, you'll get the best rates, but many loan programs are highly accessible. For instance, some conventional mortgages start qualifying applicants with scores around 620. If your score is lower, there are government-backed FHA loans. They're designed to help first-time buyers and can require a minimum score of just 580.
That's really reassuring. And I know people stress about shopping around for rates, fearing that every time a lender pulls their score, it hurts their credit.
That's an important insider tip. The credit bureaus, they know you're rate shopping. Multiple inquiries within a short period, usually up to 2 weeks, When you're looking for a mortgage, they usually count as a single minor inquiry.
So shop confidently.
Shop confidently.
Okay, let's talk about the total bill. Myth. A down payment is the only upfront cost.
Oh, this is a major source of buyer shock. The down payment is just the start. You have to budget for the home inspection, termite inspection, and critically closing costs.
And these are the fees for everything from title insurance and loan origination to attorney fees and taxes.
All of it, yeah.
So what kind of range are we talking about for closing costs?
Typically, they add between 3 and 6% of the purchase price to your initial outlay.
So on a $300,000 home, that's an extra $9,000 to $18,000.
In cash, on top of your down payment.
Wow. That is a massive hidden cost. Are there ways to mitigate that?
Yes, this is where negotiation comes in. You can ask the seller to shoulder some of those closing costs. It's called a seller concession. Also, certain loans, like those FHA loans we mentioned, sometimes let you roll those costs into the mortgage itself.
Easing the immediate cash burden.
Exactly.
All right, let's shift to the seller's perspective now, evaluating offers. The myth here is the highest price is always the best offer.
This is so critical for sellers to understand. The price is only one component of the offer.
The package deal.
It's a package deal. Price, terms, closing date, contingencies. If the highest priced offer comes with a huge list of contingencies, like demanding you fix every tiny detail or a 60-day financing contingency, that high price might be hiding a lot of risk.
Or just massive inconvenience, right? If the highest offer demands you close and move out in 5 days,
Right.
that forces emergency movers, temporary storage, hotel stays.
Exactly. The stress and the expense of that ridiculous move-out timeline might easily cost you $10,000 or $15,000, completely negating the price advantage over a lower offer that gave you, say, 45 days to move comfortably.
So you have to evaluate the net benefit, not just the top line number.
Absolutely.
Connecting this back to financing, there's a related myth. The lowest interest rate is always the best mortgage.
It seems logical, but it's simplistic. A low rate might hide high upfront costs. For example, you might have to pay a lot in closing costs to buy down points.
Which is basically prepaid interest to lower the lifetime rate.
Exactly. Or that low rate might be attached to an adjustable rate mortgage, an ARM, which starts low but can increase dramatically after a few years.
So the best mortgage really depends on your life plan. If I plan to sell in 5 years, that low initial ARM rate is great.
But if you plan to live there for 30 years, you should probably pay a bit more for a fixed rate. You have to consider your personal time horizon, your risk tolerance. It's about optimizing for your situation, not just chasing the lowest advertised number.
Now let's look at property types. Myth. Single-family homes are always more affordable to own than multifamily dwellings.
This is highly misleading, especially for investors or cost-conscious buyers. Yes, the initial purchase price of a duplex or a triplex will be higher.
Sure.
However, with a multifamily home, you have the advantage of rental income from the extra units you aren't living in.
So that income offsets the debt.
They can cover 50% or more of your monthly mortgage payment. So the true net cost of ownership for the multifamily can be significantly lower than shouldering the entire payment of a single-family home by yourself.
It's a powerful way to leverage real estate to build wealth immediately.
Right out of the gate.
Okay, let's jump into our final segment, property condition and due diligence.
Yeah.
Myth. Buying a new home means fewer repairs in the years to come.
We all wish this were true. But new construction is often built very quickly to maximize efficiency and profit.
And that speed can lead to problems.
It can. It can result in lower quality craftsmanship or overlooked issues. We're talking about improperly sized HVAC systems, hidden plumbing leaks, poor grading that leads to drainage problems, shoddy roofing jobs.
So a shiny coat of paint and brand new appliances can mask some fundamental flaws.
Absolutely. Buyers must not assume perfection. It is paramount that you hire an independent inspector who specializes in new construction to spot these issues before the builder's warranty expires.
On the flip side, what about homes that are visibly rough? Myth. If your home isn't in great condition, no one will buy it.
That's a definite myth. There is a robust niche market for homes that need major updates or even total overhauls. Real estate investors, professional flippers, they specifically target and buy homes in poor condition.
And they often pay cash and close quickly.
Right. They do, and that removes a huge burden for the seller. If you're a seller who can't afford to put more money into repairs, or you need to sell fast for a relocation, that investor market provides a ready, willing buyer without the usual hassle.
Okay, let's talk long-term investment. Myth. School district quality is irrelevant if you don't have kids.
This is purely a financial metric, regardless of your personal stage in life. Good school districts tend to hold their value far better than those in lower-rated areas.
And they offer a higher return on investment when it's time to sell.
Demonstrably higher, yeah. Good schools mean strong future buyer demand, period, even if you never use them.
And finally, let's end with what is arguably the most financially dangerous myth of all. Skipping a home inspection to save money. Especially if the home looks great.
Skipping an inspection is just. It's financial negligence. Visual appeal means nothing compared to structural reality. An inspector checks over 1,600 specific items.
1,600.
Yes. Looking for hidden issues you can't see, foundation integrity, faulty wiring, hidden mold, pests.
And the cost of the inspection is what, maybe $500?
Yeah.
And it can save you.
Tens of thousands. It is the ultimate insurance policy. Without that due diligence, you could unknowingly inherit a $40,000 foundation repair or a mold problem that just drains your bank account instantly.
Never skip the inspection.
Never.
This has been incredibly clarifying. We have systematically debunked 17 major myths, providing vital knowledge on everything from the true cost of an agent to the counterintuitive psychology of pricing.
And the crucial financial risks of that appraisal gap.
Yes.
Separating real estate fact from fiction is really the key. It gives you confidence and leads to better financial outcomes. And, while this deep dive provides crucial knowledge, professional advice is irreplaceable.
Always consult your specialized agents, financial advisors, and legal experts.
Absolutely.
Fantastic advice. As we close this deep dive, we want to leave you with one final thought, tying back to that idea that the highest price isn't always the best offer.
Think about your personal circumstances. If you were selling your home today, what non-financial contingency, a specific, leisurely closing date, maybe the ability to keep a beloved shed or a fixture, what would you prioritize over an extra $1,000 in the offer price? That's the kind of holistic thinking that ensures a great outcome, something to consider as you navigate the market. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
That's it for today's Meet Sean. If this helped, follow the show and share this episode with one person who needs it. See you next time.